This is how it all started, making faces for a lot of us artists who had the big dreams and the vision, and he made it happen. How did you find out about KEVYN?
Oh, I love KEVYN AUCOIN. I first received this book as a gift. I think it was for my 19th or 20th birthday, and I flipped through it, not even really knowing who he was, and just was amazed. I just think KEVYN AUCOIN is an artistic genius. He's brilliant. And a lot of these pictures in here are not retouched.
Oh, fellas.
Yes.
Stay tuned to Making Faces, the documentary you don't want to miss. Hey, it's Shey, and today, fellas, we have a special guest, Jayson. We're having a little lunch, and
hello.
Yeah, sorry.
Hi,
hello.
I'm Jayson. Nice to meet you.
This is my friend Jayson, and he's going to be telling a great little memory and a story for us. He personally met one of my idols, a makeup legend in the beauty industry, the artistry industry, KEVYN AUCOIN.
Magical man.
Magical
man. Absolutely magical.
Larger than life, right?
Larger than life in many ways, yes. Larger than my airplane that day when I had him on a flight. So.
Ooh. So KEVYN AUCOIN, if you haven't heard of this legendary makeup artist, he's a famous makeup artist that took, I think, the industry by force. He touched so many faces and made, I believe, the way for artists like myself to be successful and to have a dream that actually artistry could be a serious career.
Absolutely.
Surratt and Tiffany Bartok, thank you so much for doing this lovely documentary. I was enamored the whole time. This movie covered the span of his life, and it started back home in Louisiana. Troy was from Louisiana. Southern boy. He dealt with so many adversities. Obviously, being in the South, being a gay man, and being an artist.
Yes.
A makeup artist. So I think that was he got the strength to not let anything stop him by those adversities.
Absolutely.
I believe. Oh God, there's so much, guys, I want to tell you.
Yeah.
I got that. He was so infectious. When you met KEVYN, they said you immediately felt like he knew you and you knew him for years. To everybody, right?
That's exactly how he was. I mean, just man who came on with, like the word, larger than life. He came on my airplane and he just walked on with this just smile and this just presence. The word presence.
No air about him. I'm this famous makeup artist. I'm with the models, Cindy and the actresses.
Christy and all
yeah, right? Those were his girls.
Yeah,
just chill.
Yeah.
I felt like he was always really trying to prove himself, and throughout his career, he never kept his mouth shut. There's a saying, a closed mouth will never get fed. Well, the lesson I got from KEVYN was if he met someone and he found that, there was a connection and maybe they could connect and maybe it could help him, he wasn't afraid, fellas, to call that person the next day and say, hey, I met you. Let's meet up. Let's connect. And I think that is a great tool to take in life. Tomorrow's not promised. Go for your dreams. Don't be afraid to state it to whoever you meet. And that was so empowering. I love that. I love that about him. I know the first time I discovered KEVYN AUCOIN was on Oprah Winfrey. When I was sitting after school watching my favorite, iconic television show, Oprah, and he came on with this presence. And he transformed these beauties to different people, and I was like, wow. And he branded himself. So I was like, I could be an artist, and I can have a career, and I can have a book, and I can have a following. And that day on, I was like, wow, I can actually do this. It's not something like it's just for fun or for theater. I can actually outline my career and be an artist and be professional. So that was my first experience with KEVYN, watching him on Oprah. He transformed her to Diana Ross, her idol.
That's right.
Yeah, and basically it was history from there for me.
Yeah.
And I've loved him ever since. I loved his books. I loved his products, and I loved his drive. His drive was my favorite. The most memorable story in the documentary was he wanted to do Vogue, and he had no idea how he was going to be an artist for Vogue. So he took his book and he sat in the waiting room every day until they would say, come on in, let me just take a look at your books. And then he booked it. It's that hunger. And I sometimes feel like I lose it, or I let, voices tear me down, or people, or, criticism from others. But I just have to just remember, like, you want something bad enough, you got to eat, breathe, and sleep it.
And stay present.
And stay present.
Stay present.
He also journaled everything. He was a vlogger before vloggers were there, Bellas. He had a book, and every time he would meet someone, he would take a picture, write a note, write the colors down. Like he always had a camcorder. He was very ahead of his time.
Ahead of his time, beyond belief, yes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so that's my story. He was a big influence of why I'm a makeup artist, why I've been able to travel and work with wonderful people, to know Troy, and I see why you, Troy, are so humble. You had the most amazing role model, and you are doing such a great job of continuing his legacy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So now we're gonna talk to Jayson, because he has a real life true story of meeting Mr. Aucoin in his heyday. So, how did it happen? So it was in New York, or where were we?
I was a flight attendant for a major airline, and luckily on an afternoon flight from New York to San Francisco, there comes this presence on my flight, and I'm like, oh my God, it's KEVYN AUCOIN. I'm like, okay, at this point, this is when he's doing everybody's makeup, who is in the world top A++.
Naomi, Kate,
Madonna,
Cher.
He had just done Jennifer Lopez's Waiting for the Night video.
That's in the documentary,
Yeah,
yes!
so it was just... So anyways, he's coming to San Francisco to do, can I say, Sharon Stone's
Yes,
makeup.
Sharon.
And so he and I are talking. I was like, "Where's San Francisco? I'm doing Sharon's makeup." And I said, "Oh, cool." I said, "That's nice. Have you been there before?" He's like, "Maybe. I don't. Yeah, I think I have, but not like just a quick trip for him." And I said, "Oh." So we're just like talking, let him enjoy his flight, checking on him and stuff like that. So towards the end of the flight, probably the last 45 minutes out, he's like, "What are you doing tonight?" I said, "Well, we're laying over in Union Square," and I said, "I'm probably gonna go out." It was Wednesday night at this club called The Stud, and it's 80s night here in the city. And so he's like, "You know what? That sounds like fun." And I said, "Okay." He's like, "I'm at this hotel, the Triton. Give me a call there." I said, "Okay, cool." So I get to my hotel, the Hilton, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll give him a call." He just put it forward, I said, I called him and directed me to his room. I said, "This is Jayson, the flight attendant from da-da-da." And so next thing I know, he's like, "Yeah, I'll come. The limo driver will come pick you up at the Hilton, and we'll go to this place." So I go down there. The driver picks us up, and we're in the back talking, and we're just like talking about real life stuff, people, and I didn't want to cross that line about celebrities and makeup, because I had known he's iconic, he's an artist, most importantly. But it just was like being with an old friend. I mean, I just met this individual who's iconic, known around the world for his art, his beauty, creating different types of creating Chrissy Turlington into Audrey Hepburn, things transformation, things like that. So it was an amazing thing. We're talking limo, we finally get to the Stud, and we arrive. And then we were about to get out, and the driver says, "I'm just going to sit here and wait." And Kevin's like, "No, you're not. You're going to come in and join us and hang out with us." So I was just like, "Oh, this guy's really cool." He didn't want the driver to sit out there. So we get into the club, and we order drinks, and then we just start talking. And it was like, again, being with an old friend. His presence, just talking about, because I was then after my first cocktail. I'm starting to loosen up. He's starting to loosen up. So I'm all like, okay, I want to share dirt on people. So he goes, "I don't kiss and tell." He goes, "I'll just give you like a little
loyal friend."
He goes, "I'll just give you so and so has a potty mouth when she talks. You wouldn't think that, or so and so is very shy, even though she's more out there when she's performing. It's just those type of people. Nothing harmful. He was very, he was never malicious. He was everybody he talked about. The little he did give was very kind. And because I didn't ask questions about who has bad skin or who has, that's no one's business.
Botox.
Yeah, that's no one's business, because everyone has their own personal insecurities. So no matter who you are, and being in the industry as a flight attendant for 27 years, I've seen every type of celebrity, and you guys treat them with respect. We're all humans.
People.
We're humans.
We're humans.
And that was KEVYN. He was a human dealing with humans, and I think the celebrity would go to him because they would go back to being themselves. It was two kids being two kids, I think, with Kevin. I think he could be himself because he was already different, and he knew he was different at an early age. And he was talking about that to me, and growing up in Louisiana, where it is, it is not every day San Francisco or New York,
No,
and
really
but he made himself, he was talking about his personal journey, and I just fell in love with this great man. So, long story short, I leave him at the club, and I had to fly back to New York.
He's having fun.
He's having fun. So, I'm living in New York at the time, and I'm at a bar, which is no longer in New York anymore, called Splash. And I'm there on a Monday or Tuesday, random happy hour night. And I go order my drink, and this man comes running up to me and goes, "Oh my God, how are you?" And I go, "Oh my God, Kevin." He's like, I'm so glad to see you again. He was with some friends, and I just was kind of, my other friends looking at me kind of weird, like they know who he is. Like, oh my God, Jayson's, I said, "How are you? How was the rest of your evening?" And he's like, "I had a good time." And then he's like, I go, yeah, he goes, "Yeah, I was a little hungover when I had to do Miss Stone's makeup," and he was joking with her. He's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, what happened?" He's like, "Well, the flight attendant took me to this club." He's like, and she's like, "You picked up the flight attendant?" He's like, "No, we just bonded and had a good time." And he just had to, but he remembered the whole, he remembered
you.
He remembered me, and I was just so taken back by, here I am back in New York at home. On an off day, having a drink, and we chatted about stuff. We just going back basically with him, complete stranger in my profession, meeting on an airplane, talking about his profession in San Francisco, and then going back into the same conversation 6 months later in New York. So it was just like, wow. It was like an old friend talking to an old friend, and his other friends were kind of looking at me like, who's this person? But he looked over, he's just like, oh, whatever, He's like, it is what it is. You had a great time, and it was just a great moment. He was someone I've always admired, not just because of his brilliance, but because he was real and present with people, and just showed that's how you are. And he was humble man about everything he has. He knew that. He even told me this: everything I have is a blessing that can be taken away, and I know so, but I'm going to enjoy it. And I remember that was something he did say.
Thank you. That, I think, to leave off, that is the best. Everything we have is a blessing, and it can be taken away in a second. He also believed that beauty has no boundaries, so have fun with your beauty, express yourself, be creative, and don't be afraid to try new things, right?
Right.
Oh, it was a pleasure, Jayson. Thank you so much for sharing with the
Thank
Bellas. Bellas, check out Larger Than Life. I will have all the links in the description below, but this is a great documentary. You won't be disappointed. Beauty lovers, just art lovers, just people in general. It's a great, great story. Bravo to the directors, producers, everyone that worked on this film. It's excellent. Cheers, Bellas. Stay smiling.
Thank you for having me.
Stay beautiful, and we'll see you soon. Ciao.